Hey guys, welcome back to the garage. Gonna get a little bit of work done on the rat today. Gonna try and get the intake pulled off, hopefully get the exhaust pulled off, and possibly get the new header wrapped and or installed. We'll see how much we can actually get done today. I've already got started a little bit. We pulled the hood off the car, set it up on top. Just to get that out of the way, we can see a little bit more. Let's dive into it. Alright, so here we are under the hood. We've got the intake breather tube, the filter cover itself, intake manifolds back and below that. We're going to get started by pulling off the intake filter cover. If you're like me, your car has this amazingly custom wire instead of a strap. Part of the reason we're wanting to get rid of this crap. Normally you would just unclip and be able to pull that off. Well, I've got two styles of clamps here, Phillips on top, and a flathead on the valve cover itself. Them loosened up, should be able to pull off the vent breather tube. Now the intake box itself with an amazing air filter. I don't know if you can see that or not. That is grot in a major way. Ugh. Now we can see the intake itself. The intake itself wraps off the back of the head. Down in here, does kind of a U shape, then the filter sets in. That is what we're getting replaced. Part of what we're getting replaced. That's going to be brand new and custom. Now we've got to see how many bolts are holding this intake on. One tip that I like to use whenever you can't see the actual bolts is get yourself a little mirror. It's extendable, doesn't need to extend too far. You can drop it down in there and see exactly what kind of bolts you're working with. And all of these appear to be an Allen head. So the Allens on this happen to be a metric 6. And I'm hoping they're not super damn tight, but we'll find out. No, they're tight. I'm gonna get all these broke loose. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 6 bolts out. The last one being right there is twisted. The top of it's stripped. What we're doing is the socket piece, focus, goes in, but every time I go to twist, it pops back out. What I'm going to try and do is shove the socket, the Allen socket, up in there. I'm going to try and tack the socket to the bolt itself, and hopefully be able to break it loose at that point, and then just cut off the bolt from the socket and call it good. Try and get this socket way up in there on that bolt. That's shoved in as far as we can. Seems like it fits better one way than another. About right there. It's about as in as that thing's going to get. So what we're going to try and do, put a light tack weld on there. Hopefully that'll keep it from popping out. Alright, find out if that worked. And this should be the last bolt holding the intake to the manifold, or to the head itself. We got all sorts of shifter linkage down in here too that I'm trying to avoid. There it goes. Whew! What a pain in the butt. Get this out and I'll show you guys what I did. Focus. Right there, you can see where we tacked the end of the Allen right to the head of the bolt because it kept wanting to twist and pop out. So basically we use the tack to hold it on, and I'll go through and cut it off approximately right there just at the end of the weld. So I only lost just a little bit of the end of the actual tool itself, and that bolt is going to have to be replaced. Now I don't know if there are any more bolts, brackets. Feels like there's something back here that's holding the intake to a flange on the exhaust itself that's got a couple different bolts, one on the bottom on the manifold it feels like, and one on top on the intake. Pull the fuel filter off over here about where my elbow is. Okay, there is that bolt that was holding on the back of the intake manifold to a flange on the exhaust port, it felt like. And there we go. That is the stock intake removed. Get that out of the way. That is a big, heavy, that probably weighs, I don't know, 15 pounds, 20 maybe, of aluminum that we don't need. Alright. Intake is off. You need to pull this rain tray and get that exhaust manifold out of the way. We are going to put a little bit of PB blaster. We've got your exhaust manifold down here. You've got 4 bolts on top, and then there are 4 on the bottom of each exhaust port. I'm going to go ahead and hit them with a little bit of PB blaster. Let that soak for a little while, and then come back and try and break those bad boys loose. Basically just let that soak while I'm putting away the welder. Hopefully we are done with it for the rest of the day. Fingers crossed, these guys just want to break loose. A little bit of force and see if it'll break loose. Easy. last one out. Manifold is off the head. Now we get to jack the car up and cut the exhaust from the bottom and pull that thing out. So we've got the rat jacked up in the air. Now we can get underneath and hopefully get a good cut on that exhaust. Get the manifold and the exhaust out of the way. We've got our new header here. As you can tell, the exhaust manifold before, what you could see, was only about yay long. We're going to be replacing all the way back to here. Then we're going to have to cut off part of the exhaust. So for right now, we're going to try and cut probably somewhere in this range down there where it just kind of starts to elbow back. We'll go ahead and cut the exhaust there so we can get the manifold and that part of the exhaust out of the way. Be able to snake this down into it, figure out where we need to cut the exhaust, put it all together and weld it up. What we are going to try and do is cut the exhaust somewhere in this range. As you can tell, I've had exhaust replaced before. You got your new pipe compared to your old little rusty stuff. So we're going to cut it about here, knowing that the header should come back to somewhere in this range. We've got plenty of spare to work with, but we're going to try and cut that off, pull the exhaust manifold and everything back up out the top probably. We might have to cut it again, I'm not sure. There we go. One cut exhaust. Let's go back up top and see how it looks. That is a big, heavy, ugly dude. There's a little comparison from the stock manifold to the aftermarket that we're putting on. As you can tell, we cut it with plenty of room to spare, so we'll have to get back under there and cut a little bit more once we get this kind of in there and we've got a better idea of where we're cutting. Now, before we get too far with putting the new exhaust manifold in, I want to get the rain tray pulled out. Now, the rain tray is flipped around. This section here. You've got your firewall that's fairly flat, and you've got this part that sticks out. It's got a tray down in there. You can see this plastic piece, but there's a metal lip that sticks out all along that center section, all in through here. And we're going to try and get that cut out, because I don't think I need it. Now on my car there was a piece of weather stripping that just comes off pretty easy. Toss that outside for now. Then you've got this plastic piece. Just a couple little tabs holding mine in. Lift them up, that comes out of the way. Neat little, looks like tire tread design. Also gone. Now, this is the piece we want to cut out. The question is, how close can we cut initially and then go back through and trim up and clean up more. Floppy. Ta-da! Kind of get an idea how much more open that feels with that piece out of the way. You can tell it takes up quite a bit of space. You see right there how much it comes up over the edge. We'll get that all trimmed back down and cleaned up. Alright, so we didn't get the new exhaust manifold on today. We'll have to do that another day. I'm saying day a lot. Alright, so we got quite a bit accomplished today. We got the intake removed. That was kind of a pain in the rear. Got the old exhaust manifold off. Got the exhaust cut, so that's pretty close for the new one. And we started on the rain tray. Not too bad for one day. The intake took a little bit longer than expected, and quite frankly, I'm out of time. So we'll have to work on this again. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.